Hey guys, per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only, and it's not intended as financial advice. So, I don't really know what's going on right now, but basically, there's a bunch of confluence for this being the top TM. So let's take a look at some lines on some graphs. I'm going to switch between CNY and USD running through the cloud here because there's some differences, some nuances that I'd like to discuss. First thing to notice, there's no bear div on the weekly, which is great. I was concerned about that for a long time. That didn't happen. There is a div if you kind of draw back from here. I don't know how far back divs really go, but that's there. And the reason you do that is if you draw it from the body instead of the wick, RSI is calculated at the close. So that's that. Whether or not that's a real div, I doubt it, but cloud on weekly is fine. All cylinders are go. Now price can just go, anywhere in this range and still be bullish, which might upset some people. It might trigger some people right now. Take a seat. Okay. We are going to get a pullback. It's going to happen. So don't be afraid to take profit, including spot. No one's going to, give you crap for taking profit. Okay. I do think like in this case, not 700 USD, but whatever this line is right here, 5,000, 5,200 CNY, something like that. That's probably the floor right now. And that goes back to even this zone here. The issue we're kind of running into on the weekly is, it's a good issue. We're running out of resistance. Real estate is running out. So we kind of have to look to other things like pitchfork and pivots and Fibonacci extensions for targets, which is what I'm going to talk about later on. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We've never closed a weekly candle in this level ever. That's huge. That's so huge. That's pre all-time high euphoria kicking in, I think, which is great. Now, whether or not market memory will kick in, I think we're seeing some volatility now in the lower time frames. That's telling a lot of people this may be an interim top. Typically, you get volatility at the top and bottom. We certainly haven't had the blow-off top like I'd like to see, which is a clear indication of a top or, a tweezer top, something like that. So we're nowhere near that. I do think this will go higher. This is weekly stamp, all the same stuff. And again, volume's low, which is still weird. No div, which is great. 455, it's going to get hit probably next year. Who knows? The floor right now is probably around 750 on stamp, drawing back from this horizontal here. And again, we've never closed above this level. It doesn't look any danger of retracement, but pullback's going to happen. The question is, do you want to go long at all-time high? That's what you got to ask yourself. If you're not long right now, like me, if you're out of position, if you're like the RGS guy on one broker who's been long for a while and just holding, that's obviously the best position you can be in. but if you're not, if you've been in and out like I have, then you need to ask yourself, do I really want to long the all-time high? And you just got to play the lower time frames, I think, and watch what the candles look like. So that's weekly. Daily, there is something going on with RSI, which tells me it's a consolidation type of something. Usually when there's a triangle and an oscillator, that tells you more than the price that something's getting ready to, it's coiling up. I always say RSI is coiling up for a move. We'll see. Now, this is the first indicator that you'll notice. There's a 3 drives going on here. Bollinger mentioned it. I've been talking about it for a few days now. I'll talk about that in another chart later on, but this is definitely the 3rd drive. Now, Bitcoin loves to make 4 or 5 drives before pulling back. Makes me look like a fool every time. Pullback targets would be the daily Kijun 6K. Nice round, even number. And again, price can just float all the way in here and still be bullish. You can see we've never touched the Kijun this whole time since October. Kind of crazy. Stamp, again, same stuff. 3 drives, RSI coiling, volume is consolidating. You can see if you compare the volumes, both are descending more clearly here on stamp, which has real volume, where fees do exist and then you can't wash trades back and forth. And again, your level would be 860. Those are probably the safest bids right now, I think, which sounds insane. $200 down, $180 down, whatever it is. I know, but Kijun bounce, bro. What can I say? For our CNY, again, the 3 drives becomes more clear. Volume is just kind of flat. No div right now. There was a div and there wasn't a div. This is why divs are tough to play. Uptrend is just so strong right now. Shorting anything is just, everybody keeps asking me about shorting because I'm posting the bearish 3 drives chart. So I feel like I'm leading people to slaughter, but really, like, you should only be short on low leverage with a tight stop. Yeah, don't go 500x short right now. That's my opinion. That's not advice. That's my opinion. I wouldn't want to be short 500x right now. 4-hour stamp, again, 3 drives, volume, div, if you want to call it a div and volume, higher highs, lower volume, no RSI div, and then your targets on 4 hour would be 940, and again 860 sort of pops up on the flat Kumo. So, you know, bids at 940, stops at 915. Usually you want your stops at the cloud or in the cloud. So what would that be in CNY? 6800, stops at 6400. It's a big margin down, I know. R&R on that isn't great. But if we do pop back up to all-time high plus, obviously you're laughing. Hourly CNY looks toppy to me. You know, this fractal sort of appears the same here. You're getting a weakening, waning of bullish momentum, volume's flat. Again, what I'd like to see is the cross-recross stuff that's been golden ever this whole rally. So we may or may not dip into the cloud. We're starting to get this flat Kumo at 70.50, let's say. Now this is an early top call if it is the top, but the cloud is telling you, you know, the lagging span's going into the price. Just look here for an example of that. You know, that's just the beginning of sideways. That's the first sort of part of the cloud that's saying momentum's definitely slowing down here. That's not to say that it can't go higher, obviously. You know, it looks like it's a bit of a flag triangle business going on. So it may or may not break up from here, but overall I think it'll be sideways down and then a decision from there. Now stamps candles are a freaking joke, stopping me out last night. Yeah, good luck trading this. I think right now, you know, just based on horizontals, this 1010 level, if that breaks, I think we'll see much lower. 980, definitely. But right now 1010 looks super solid, which is insane to think about considering where we came from. But, you know, just like CNY, what I'd like to see on the cloud is the cross-recross of the TK with the bounce on the cloud. You know, this picture is what you want to see for re-entry on lower time frames. That's what I want to see. And again, lagging spans starting to go into price. Now this sort of looks like a diamond top, which I've talked about briefly in a few of the videos, but the candles are so messed up, I don't even think it's worth commenting on. Basically, it's just a toppy reversal pattern. 30-minute CNY, you can see price starting to drift into the cloud. The TK cross happened here, so if you were long from here, based on the 30-minute, the cloud is telling you to close based on the TK cross. So when we get a bearish TK cross above the cloud, that is not a open a short signal. That's just a close your long signal. Until price is below the cloud and you have a bearish TK cross, that's your short entry signal. I get a lot of people asking me, TK cross happened, do I open a short here? You certainly can if you're trading like the edge to edge thing, but that's kind of aside from the TK cross land in general. That's just you know, this zone here. So that's what we may see. Certainly, you know, if we break this diag, I think it'll reach for 7,000 for sure. And again, on stamp, it's just a mess. So lower time frames with cloud, it's hard to judge, but you can see this 1010 level popping up again as far as support on the Kijun. So if we break that level, I think we'll go lower. You can certainly put your bids there. I think it's super risky right now. We're at the top of the third drive of a larger time frame. So, you know, maybe with a tight stop, like a $12 stop or something. Probability of pullback, I think, is much greater than continuation right now. So that's just cloud. Now I want to talk about cup and handle a little bit. So I posted this over 2 months ago now. Some annotations, great, excellent, look how good I am. So we did hit the target already, so that's one reason why, you know, momentum's sort of sitting here, I think, just adding to the confluence of reasoning. And then if we look at this diag cup, again, we've basically hit the target. We're also very close to the diag on the pitchfork. So again, pitchfork, I should have posted this months or sooner than I did because it would have looked like more of a boss than I already am, but you can see we're right at that diag. And if you don't know, on these published charts, you can manipulate them any way you want. You just drag the axis. The reason I don't publish most charts is because things like RSI and cloud just don't print right. So I don't bother until they fix that. I don't think it's worth it for me. But for Pitchfork, it's great. So as people are sort of buying up here, Pitchfork is telling you to start selling because that's resistance. Back to the 3 drives. Again, I look like a boss because I hit the level exactly. I'm some sort of wizard, I know. But all it is I'll do a video on this later today showing some in-depth analysis on 3 drives. But all you're looking for is sort of symmetric, harmonic, equal in time and distance. So that's why I chose this 2. It's just the harmonic value. And we're right there right now, so we'll see what happens. It was hard for me to sort of determine where the targets are for 3 drives, but I think it boiled down to the 618 of the entire move. So 881. I know we said, what did Claude say on the daily? 860, I think. Let me check. Yeah, so it's right at 860. Like I said, it's crazy to think we're going to drop $180 or whatever it is, but you know, we've certainly had a nice run here. So a few more things. Fib extensions. I don't use the 2 fib extension too often, but if you measure it from here to here, we're basically there. So potential reversal zone based on that. This is probably drawn wrong, but I don't care. If you measure the fib from this level, I didn't extend it all the way, but this level to here, it lines up really well with the top of the ascending triangle. And you can see again, sort of potential reversal zone at the 2, I don't know, I guess it's 200%. I don't really know. I feel like I should know. So PRZ there, and then we go to yearly pivots. I mentioned these on Twitter. Somewhere around 8,200, I think, on CNY. And lastly, if we look at premiums, talked about this on Twitter a little bit. Green is the weekly premium. Blue is the quarterly premium. This gray is GBTC divided by 10. So GBTC looks like it had a nice spike today. And then the line is China minus USD. So the premium in China has been huge lately, up as much as 5%, I think. That's mainly driven by yuan devaluation. So whether or not that will continue, we'll see. It certainly looks like it will. The PBOC continues to devalue with no end in sight, and these premiums can just keep going. Really, we've seen $80 to $90 quarterly premium. This is at 76 right now. I know it's cut off a little bit, but 76 right now. So people, nobody likes the raw value. They like percentages better because we're in a higher value Bitcoin now. It makes more sense. But we've never had a premium on quarterly, I think, above 92 or something like that. It's just never happened. So I think there's a bit of a psychological resistance there. We'll see what happens, but you know, we're getting close, but we could certainly go higher. So that's evidence for continuation, if anything. So that's all I got for today. Overall, I wouldn't short this. I would definitely consider very much whether to long this though. As usual, like, dislike, comment, subscribe, share, donate, hit me up on Twitter and Telegram, and happy trading.